everybody, it's Kit with Paperkitz, and I'm back to show you how I set up my basic Strathmore drawing pad to make the album that I showed you in my previous video, the Tropical Travelogue album that I made out of the Graphic 45 paper. And I'm getting ready to prep. In fact, I'm going to make two more as gifts, and I'm getting ready to prep it. So here we go. I promised you I'd show you how I did that. This is the Strathmore drawing pad, 24 sheets, 6 by 8 inches, and it is the 80-pound paper, which I really like. You can use any pad you want. You can use any size you want. This is just my preference right now. And I like it because it doesn't have the perforations at the top either. Be careful, if you get the drawing pads that have the perforated tops, those will start to separate during the manipulation and the altering of the pages to make your pockets and your fold outs. So this one does not have any perforation at the top, and I'm going to show you now how I actually did the scoring to make it roll over up here on the top. So I take my scoreboard. Now you can use anything. You don't really have to use a scoreboard. You could use a ruler and a bone folder and just run a series of score marks along the edge like I'm going to show you how to do. All we're doing is stretching the surface tension so that when you start filling your album, your cover doesn't start going like this and this and this and this as you fill it up. When you put the roll on the edge near the spine, no matter how much you put in there, your cover will lay flat. So let me show you how I do it. I'm putting my pad in this direction on my scoring board because I want the score lines to be on the top of the cover. I know everybody says, that seems backwards. If you're going to fold it the other direction, you should score on the other side. But no, what you want to do is stretch this part so that when you do that roll, this paper will not crack and break on this side. So position it with your cover facing up. And then on my scoreboard, what I do is I start in at the edge and I score every 1/8 of an inch. And I hope that this is showing up since I can't see my screen. But I'll go in about 1 inch. And that seems to work well. So just score every 1/8 of an inch. Get in that first groove close to your spine area. And come out to the 1 inch mark. Now, when that is finished, what we're going to do is we're going to walk a roll. Yeah, we're going to walk a roll. We're going to roll this towards the center of the pad. We're not going to crease it. We're just going to do a soft roll. And there we go. Now we've got that roll top desk effect that I talk about, that no matter how much you put into your pad, well, that's not true. I mean, if you put this much into your pad, nothing's going to hold it down. But that gives you probably 1 inch of space inside your mini album that you can add paper to, pictures to, whatever you wish, and your cover will lay flat. Also, if you notice, it creates like a waterfall on this side. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to do 8 to 10 of the pages inside in the same method. Lay it on my scoreboard, and that will create even more of a waterfall effect. You can see there's already score marks on here because I've done this video several times. I could not get the camera to work to begin with, so I got out my repair manual, and Kit's repair manual has just 2 items in it. Item number 1 is smack it on the arm of the sofa, because I used to smack things on the palm of my hand until I learned that rule number 101 in creativity was thou shalt not injure thyself. And you don't want to smack it on a table because that breaks things. Been there, done that. So rule number 1 is smack it on the arm of the couch, and then rule number 2 is if rule number 1 doesn't work, give it to your hubby or kids to fix it for you. So I smacked it on the upholstered arm of the couch and it worked. So, but then I probably broke something because it only would let me record for like 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. It just kept changing its mind. So hopefully I'm still here and you're still there. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to score 1/8 of an inch on the first 8 to 10 pages. And again, what that does is, and come in up to 1 inch too. I still use that inch mark. We'll stay in there, baby. There we go. And what that does is that will create more rolls. Just do it softly. Roll it gently. That paper will stretch. Free physics lesson, see? We have fun, don't we? And that creates not only more of a roll top, but it's going to start creating a waterfall down this edge of your book, which I truly like. Put labels and tags and tabs and whatever. And let me show you, like I did on this one. See how it just kind of waterfalls down and serves as more display space for all these neat little things that I like to add. The lusciousness, the goodness, the chocolate of a mini album. How's that? Ooh, that sounds good. Okay, I digress. The next thing, after we get the scoring done, the next thing we're going to do is ink the edges. I like to go ahead and do that first, and I've already done one here just to save time because, again, I don't know when this camera is going to go kapooty. On the one that I'm making for a gift, I am using the Not Quite Navy ink by Stampin' Up, and the Not Quite Navy cardstock is going to be what I use for a lot of the tags and tabs in the album that matches. It's this color too, because that color, if you are familiar with the tropical Travelogue paper, this is the exact color of that darker blue that's in the paper line. And I always like using one of the darker colors as kind of the main color going through. On the one that I did, I used the deeper greens that you could find throughout the paper line. But the gal I'm making this for likes blue, so we're going to go with the blue. And I've already done most of the antiquing on this one, but I wanted to show you how I did it. Don't want to bore you with sitting there watching me do it either. But I take the ink and I use a sponge. And I like the sponge. This is a Stampin' Up sponge that I cut up. They don't cost much. You can use any kind of sponge, but the Stampin' Up sponge has tiny holes in it, so I like it a little bit better than I would a kitchen sponge. And the sponge is great when you're working around a spiral, because you can get right up into the spirals and it will stain all the way down in there. And I want that. Even though I don't want this heavily antiqued, I want the spine area to kind of just sort of fade away into the background. And that will help pull the color theme all the way through too. Now on the page itself, all I did was just go down and hit the edge of all the pages, so that you see the blue on the edge, but it's not so prominent on each page like on mine. Mine, I took the sponge and really came in deep into a lot of the pages to get that vintage photo ink further in. But on this one, I'm going to keep it out towards the edge, keep it a little cleaner, a little brighter, a little newer looking, not quite so aged. And another thing I like about these sponges, you can see that I used this sponge for 3 different ink colors. You actually probably could do 5, use both the sides, but I keep that clean to put my fingers on, so I don't get too much ink on my fingers. But there you go. We have inked it, and I've gone through and done every single page in here, as you can see. So once we get the inking done, or skip the ink altogether. You don't have to put any ink on it if you don't want to. Looks like I might have came up a little light on these pages. Get down in there, baby. Ink, ink, ink. There we go. I'm happier with that. So, put the ink away, and now we're going to alter our pages. So let's find the cover again. And I'm setting this up just like I did. Let's get rid of that score pad. Oh, one other thing too, I didn't flip this over, but I use 2 pieces of paper when I work. I have one on the bottom that I use for inking and for glue, anything that's kind of messy. And then I can flip back to a clean page when I want clean. So this is messy and fun, and this is clean. Plus I make notes on this. This is the Stampin' Up pad, the grid pad, that I really like because it has measurements on it, but I write notes to myself on this too during my projects if I want to remember something, or if I'm creating a pattern for something. I always physically make it first.